Damn right, we are all ugly, mother. Oh man, especially you.
It was my fault that my mom didn't get vaccinated and I'm still a good hunter.
Hello my friends and welcome back to Player Display. So today we got two other big ol' mamma jamma predators from Predator 2, being Scout and Shaman, also known as Hippie for some reason. We'll get into that. I hope you guys don't mind that we're doing a 2-for-1 special, especially for Predators, knowing how absolutely awesome they are, and there's so many details to unpack. But first of all, we got a lot of hot ticket items coming in that I really want to focus my energies on, so when those arrive, they're going to get a lot more attention. And second, we kind of know what to expect from NECA at this point. They're always doing great, and they're always doing great. Pretty much just going to breeze through these two, especially since we don't have as much to discuss with them, especially when put beside Elder and some of the other bigwig predators that we've been talking about lately. But that's alright, there's still a lot here to explore. I still got the boxes, I still got all their accessories. If you're only interested in looking at one of these guys instead of just both, then as per usual, whenever I have a 2-for-1 special, then go ahead in the description, there will be timestamps if you just want to expedite Shaman over here, because I think we're going to go ahead and start with Scout, who's a little bit more laid back. Firstly, you know we have to start off with the box, which is absolutely gorgeous as it always is. Brand new Art Deco, never seen before except for on this box. But I do want to mention a little Easter egg that we have here. If you look right over here in this corner, in this Japanese skyline, we have Yutani from Wayland and Yutani, if you know alien lore. Off to the side, you got the Predator 2 logo, and you also have the same on this side over here. 30th anniversary once again, because once more, these are all figures we have seen before in previous NECA entries, but now a little more updated and retooled with some extra accessories to beef out their lore a little bit. Speaking of lore, looking at the top, here we have the backstory of Scout, who is basically the cunning sniper of the Lost Tribe from Predator 2. And then down to the bottom and off to the side, we have more product shots of this Yautja over here. And this is a very special Yautja because he is kind of like his own breed. He comes apparently from like the segregated island from Yautja Prime, which I find very fascinating. On the bottom, in contrast from Hasbro, the keep logo is rather light, but we at least have Green Arrow. And what's a box without your good old-fashioned
Sound audience!
Of course, since this is an Ultimate Edition packaging, you get a window box on the front, and then you have another very beautiful portrait of the figure, another posing option if you like, along with that very seen before, done it before, Predator 2 spaceship wall background, which is fine. The more of these you collect, the bigger your wall can be. I always love customizing those. I might just stitch them all together one day. As I said, we're not going to spend too much time on these two Predators because a lot of it is reuse, and we're more going to focus on the pieces that are unique to each figure, and of course Scout is not an exception to that rule, starting off with this really awesome and unique head sculpt. Now, as you can tell, this is not the conventional Predator because you see that all 4 mandibles go upward, giving him this really awesome underbite that kind of reminds me of my late dog Teddy, which makes me a little bit sad, but also that makes him a little bit cute at the same time. But yeah, it pretty much continues down with that really gorgeous, almost tan beige color throughout, borderline albino. He's quite pale, more so than Elder, who we will do a size comparison with. We also have this neat little shoulder pauldron over here. I think we've seen that on a few Predators in the past. Same with this one, but again, love that asymmetry. You know how I feel about that. Little skull necklace here at the pecs, along with that classic traditional Predator fishnetting throughout, except on the arms, interestingly enough. As for the arms, we have 2 gauntlets. We have one with the traditional Yautja wrist blades, this time bloodied, sometimes they are clean. In this case, they show their history and their purpose. And as for this one, you do have the pad, which opens inverted for some reason. I'm not sure why. Some Predators have it that way, some don't. Off to the waist, we have kind of that leather tunic going all the way around, and you also see that he does not have a backpack, interestingly enough, because you are able to hook the various weapons onto his back, so that makes a little bit more room. Going down, you get that gluteus maximus, of course. The more the fishnetting, some really cool looking leopard motifing going on around the thighs, and the front you get some neat looking stripes. It makes him feel very wild, very jungle-ish. Well, I mean, you know, so I'll start with the jungle Predator. Going down, some knee pads, some shin guards, and then those really big, creepy-looking Predator feet. Of course, since this is NECA and this is an ultimate release, they do not shortchange you on accessories whatsoever. So let's go ahead and start with the various hands. So we have one wider gripping, what just fell off? Oh, we'll talk about this, don't worry about that. We have a wider gripping on the left, and then we have a tighter gripping on the right. I don't know if these are the default hands that he had when I took him out, but you know the drill. They pop him out, and they got the little pegs. For the left, we have one splayed open, gesturing, grabbing, skull holding, whatever you like. And then back to the right, we have two more hands, being a disc throwing and then another splayed open. And all of them continue with that really beautiful leopard motif. As for that piece that just fell off the gauntlet, this is supposed to be, I believe, his net launcher. So this basically goes here when it's retracted, and it blends in seamlessly. I didn't even know it was there until it fell off, but if you'd like, you could take it off like so. You can notice that it is keyed. It is not a perfect rectangle. It's got a little chip in the corner there, intentionally so. That way you can flip it out with this piece right here, and then you can see it is a little bit elevated. And now you have, it's a little flimsy, but you got something of a net launcher. It might be some other gimmick, I'm really not too sure, but it would be nice if they included a projectile or something to actually tell you what it is, you know what I mean? Next up, we have two combi sticks, one retracted, then one extended. Of course, this is nothing unique. Same mold. I do wish that perhaps they'd make it a little bit more malleable, because I find that the extended one is always a little bit on the crooked side. You see as I'm spinning it, it's not a perfect cylinder. I don't love that, but it's not the worst thing. I don't use combi sticks very often anyhow. So I've even tried hot water, and it didn't do a ton, unfortunately, but anyhow, in terms of gripping, pretty simple. I mean, you just get the wider hand on the left, boom, there you are. Very simple, nice. And then if you want it on the back, something that you want to be weary of I think all New Wave Predators, when you're opening it, be careful. I think when I opened this one, this clip was already out, so I want to keep it out for the moment to show you that there is a little hole there. You just got to plug it back in, and then after this review, I'll probably just put in some glue, because I don't think it's supposed to be locked in, but that's another nice thing about it. It's very modular. You can tell things are not intentionally glued like here. So if you just want to omit the clip completely, that there is that option. But then again, if you do want it, be sure that before you chuck the box or store it somewhere, that you have this clip somewhere safe where you're not going to lose it again, like me. Let's keep our attention on the back as we look at one other really neat accessory. You have this little med pack, I believe. And this, again, this is, doesn't seem like it was pre-glued. You can tell that there is no residue or anything over here on this little slot. All you need to do, I think it goes on this way, but peg that in. And it looks great, although it is quite loose. It also comes with an extended throwing disc, but if you want him holding that, you know the drill. It's always the same. You have the throwing disc hand for the right, plug that right in, and then he'll look very good, no problem. And then he also has, oh, there we are. I thought he had one. He has the closed one, which you can put into this side like so. You know how that works. It's all rubbery, stick it right in, friction, not a big deal. Now, he also has a plasma caster, although this is one of my, my only complaint about this figure is, again, this is another piece that kind of just rolled out. I don't think I recall a designated bubble for this plasma caster inside the packaging. It looks really well sculpted. It moves very well. The joint is actually quite sturdy, but when it comes to putting it into the figure, you can see the railing where it fits. It's a little bit stretched out, but you know what we do here. I'll give it some hot water, and I suspect it won't be a problem. As for the plasma effect that we have here, which looks absolutely beautiful and a little bit shimmery, you can go ahead and pour that in. It is keyed, so just be sure you match that up, and there we are. So that stays in really good, but there is a slight weight issue, but I suspect once you heat up those two little rings there, then it should be a lot more secure, and you should be better to go. We also have an alternate head sculpt, being the classic Jungle Hunter biomask. This time a little bit more worn. It's got some pewter to it, which I really love a lot. Head swapping. It's the same thing as always, just jimmy it a little bit from under the mandibles, and then get the other head. Be sure the dreads are out of the way so they don't get all crinkly or nothing. Maybe align the peg prematurely, and then give a little bit of a twisty, and then nice click, and it goes right in. It looks really sharp. But to distinguish him from Jungle Hunter, I do prefer the more unique mutant Yautja that we have over here. I don't think it's a mutant, it's more just like another strain. Now we we have two last accessories to look at, which are pretty much his trademark weapon, being his big ol' sniper rifle, which is one of the most kick-ass things about this figure. Like, honestly, if it weren't for the sniper rifle and the small that we have here, I probably wouldn't be as interested in this figure, but this really does make things a lot more exciting, especially since we have not seen a sniper rifle with a Predator before. I don't suspect we will see one ever again, but it is very modular. You could see that the front actually extends in and extends out. Whoa, I don't even know it went out that long. Holy crap. All right, well, there you go. That sniper is really freaking cool. And you also have this little, I guess, bipod, could you call it? Not really a tripod, but yeah, I've seen in the promo shots you can have him lying down flat on his belly, kind of sniping down some foes, Dutch, whoever, and or maybe Glover would be more accurate, right? Predator 2. But yeah, if you want him holding it, it is actually not an issue at all. You have this gripping hand over here, and then you just kind of slide it in between the fingers and the thumb. It takes a little bit of finessing, but just stretch it out. The hands are nice and flexy, not as stiff as they once were. That goes in all right. Wrist blades get in the way a little bit, not too bad. You just fling it over a bit, and then you can get this wider gripping hand. I guess under here, you have a little creative license. That was a disc, ignore that. And then there you are. Pretty cool. More idle, not quite aiming down the sights, but that can be accomplished. Let me go ahead and do that for you. Whew! Yeah, there we are. That's looking pretty good. And then we can go ahead and extend that, and then push these back a little bit. Damn. Yeah, that adds a little bit of flavor to the shelf. Just a brand new weapon that you've never seen with a Predator before. Love it a lot. Now, if you prefer that this Scout Predator be a little bit more conventional and you don't want this big honking weapon in the way, then you do have a retracted version over here. Aside from the point that I have no idea how this becomes this little guy, it's a very well done piece. And the one thing that bugs me a bit is I am not sure where on the back you were supposed to sling it. Oh, you know what? Maybe I just found the sweet spot. Right there? Oh, I'm learning today. Basically, you want the more pointy end down, and then you see the little hitch above the brackets? That's where you put it on top of the rectangle, and you kind of slot it on top like that. I'm actually not going to talk about the articulation too much on this guy because, again, it's really the same base body, and the thing that helps him stand out from the others is that he's a little bit more stripped down, kind of same with Shaman, honestly. So that means he does have a little bit more articulation because there's less armor bits in the way, but pretty much you got, head down, head up, swivel, all that. But the thing I did want to point out is that the arms move very, very well. Better than I've ever seen on the Predator. Like, you can see it hits borderline 90, and that is thanks to the rubbery shoulders, which kind of cup over, kind of like what we've been seeing with Black Series, Clone, and Stormtroopers. Elbows are pretty much what you expect, but you do have a swivel here above each gauntlet. All hands are in and out. Abs, you got a swivel, but it's really tight, and that's just because of how bulky the sculpt is, but that's okay. You got something in the waist. You get a good amount. You got some tad forward, tad back, not a ton, that's okay. That's the next step for NECA, right? They got to work on the torso a little bit. As for the legs, forward, back, I got your usual knees, sharp, very good. And then as for ankles, they're on a ball joint, but they do allow you to go side to side, and then up to down, and you also got your rocker. Good. I love this figure so much. Now let's go ahead and move on to Shaman Predator, who definitely has the most kick-ass looking box I've ever seen. The artwork is just bitchin' all the way through. And also you get some xenomorph skulls on some pyres, which is really awesome, but also makes me a little disappointed that it's not part of his accessory lot. So that kind of sucks. Yeah, Predator 2, Predator 2, Predator 2, you know the drill there. Off to the back, you got some shots of the figure along with the other figures in the wave. Pushing on in, you got a really neat bio. And long story short, basically he is, well, the shaman of the Lost Tribe, obviously. But even this character is intimidating for the other Predators because he has such an adoration for the macabre. He's kind of like me. Open it up, get another shot of the figure looking bright and beautiful with more of that spaceship wall on the inside as the insert. So remember when just a minute ago I said that the Scout Predator is borderline albino? Well, I took off this guy's clothes and yeah, I was wrong. This is of course meant to be one of the oldest Predators in the Predator lore as per the bio on the box, which is really interesting. And he is also nicknamed by the community as the hippie Predator. It's obviously because he has such long dreadlocks. And that's one of my favorite parts about this figure, is that you can easily pull them out of the way to get them over the shoulders, to give them a little bit more of a distinct profile from the rest. And even though he is overall just a basic stripped down Yautja, he is probably one of my favorites who isn't physically augmented, heavily armored to the teeth, and this guy actually has the least weapons of all the Predators we've seen, so he probably has the biggest green footprint of all of them. So thank you for taking care of the Earth, Yautja. Moving up front, pretty traditional Predator face, this time more roaring, which I like a lot. Unfortunately, we're still waiting on the changeable mandibles, but it looks like we will be seeing that with the feral Predator from Prey. I'm still thinking about whether I want to get him or not. Budget's budget. We have this very awesome looking pale motif. This could be a dead Predator if you want. He's so pale.
Not so pale. You're on it.
You have a little bit of a tie for those extended dreadlocks, looking very sharp. Peering into the eye sockets, you get to make out those little tiny yellow beady eyes, looking very beautiful and standing out just fine from a distance. Panning out, again, the armor's very, very minimalistic. That's just the way this guy works. You got your two shoulder pauldrons. You got some very laid-back wrist, not even wrist guards. They're more just leather, and that's pretty much it. So that's really interesting to me. I can't tell if his hands are just gray or very, very dirty, but either way, they work. This guy, I suspect he smells pretty bad from the rest. You'll know what I'm talking about when we get to accessories. Down, usual leather loincloth going all the way around. A little less butt cheek than the other ones. That's okay. He's a little more conservative. Usual Predator legs. Nothing else very new. Really, if you take away all the accessories, the things that are most noteworthy are the paint scheme and the long dreadlocks. Other than that, he's a pretty standard Predator, which is not a problem, as you are about to see. Alright, let's talk about the best piece of soft goods I've ever seen with a figure in this scale. He comes with this really awesome frayed poncho, which is also wired. That is some next level shit for action figures right there. Like, yeah, you see all these custom goods on eBay and stuff like that, but how often do you really get a wired cape for a standard figure that you don't need to go out of your way to get on your own? This is just absolutely fantastic and not a problem to get onto the figure. So we're actually going to do two things at once. We're going to have a look at the poncho first by popping off the head, which is very easy, as per usual. You don't want to pull on those long dreadlocks, though. Then just slot on that poncho, easy peasy. And then you can also bend it any way you like it's kind of blowing in the wind, or maybe he's moving forward really quickly, or I don't know, maybe have a little bit of asymmetry, have that one back. Actually, yeah, that kind of gives him a kind of a toga feel. That looks pretty cool. I might keep that for now. And now, again, this is going to be kind of a two-part thing as we go ahead and drop on the second head sculpt. Easily my favorite part of this entire figure. He does not have a biomask. He wears up a straight skull. He's basically the closest to the Angel of Death that we've ever seen for a Predator figure, because pretty much everything he comes with is bones and skulls for days. So let's have a look at everything else that he comes with. Let's go ahead and move on to the hand department. On the left, you have a wider gripping hand, along with a splayed out hand. And on the right, you have another splayed out, a disc holding, and then a tighter grip. And all of them, again, have that very, I don't know if they're gray or dirty, but whatever the case is, they look fantastic, really sharp. Let's continue by looking at what I think is the only old weapon here that came with the original release, being his very long staff, which he was holding in the movie. So if we want to go ahead and give this to him, you can see it's got some really cool wrist blades at the end. You go ahead and grab the smaller gripping hand for the right. We'll go ahead and port off the throwing disc hand. Support that right on, not an issue. Maybe give a little bit of a stretch as we flex this in. I've never actually tried this, so this might be this way for the rest of the review if I have a little bit of trouble. There we are. Yeah, I definitely recommend that you get it on one of the more thick areas with the bandages going around. But yeah, once you get it in there, he looks pretty damn great. Another thing I wanted to mention really quick, even though we already talked about this really gnarly looking head sculpt, is he is blooded. So we got a little bit of AVP lore going on. Once again, very cool. If it's all the same to you, I'm just going to nail out these accessories a little bit quickly. So first we have this really awesome looking dagger, almost raptor claw style, kind of like Betsy, right? Looking very sharp and deadly and painful. And I really love the blood that they have on there. I love the gloss, like he just cut someone up or scalped them or skinned them or whatever it is a Predator does. And yeah, that can definitely fit very well in this hand over here on the left. So let's just go ahead and pour that in. I like how you can either have it going pointing outwards or inwards, depending on what your style is. Even though the blood is technically on the wrong side, in terms of my preference, I like to have it pointing out. I don't know, it just feels a little more gnarly to me. So that looks absolutely awesome and shiny. This is probably my favorite weapon that comes with him, being this axe made of a human skull, looking totally cool. And you can see that the rest of the grip is actually made of the spine, going all the way down to the pelvis. This guy's got a story to tell, that's for damn sure. And as for gripping, you probably want to use the disc holding hand. I found that that was best, although you could probably use this hand as well. But if you want him dual wielding smaller weapons, as you saw in the thumbnail, you can do that. Just stick it right in, holds in with friction. Not a perfect grip, but it does work. I mean, it's tight. What else do you need, right? You also have an extended throwing disc. I mean, there's nothing, alright, there's nothing wrong with these. They look great. They're always well executed. They fit in the belt just fine. On that note, I forgot to mention that is you have a closed one pre-sculpted into the tunic, which is pretty interesting. I don't think I've seen that before. But at the same time, every time you get a Predator, there's just another weapon that's better than the throwing disc. But that's just me. Maybe you prefer these more. But I mean, come on, when you have a staff and a knife, an axe made of a head, you really think I'm going to pose this guy with this? But I am probably going to use this in my custom Predator trophy wall. Wait for that custom showcase in the future. And the last thing we have, what's a Predator without another skull? This time a little bit more bloodied up than we've seen in the past. Same sculpt that we've seen before with Jungle Hunter and I believe Elder as well. This is probably the best skull of all the ones we've seen. Before I felt like they were a little bit too single color. In this case, he's definitely got a good wash to him. It looks very fresh. I like the way that the blood's applied. It doesn't feel like it was just ripped right out of a person. It feels like it was ritually painted over with the blood, which is definitely something that this guy would do. I mean, come on, look at him, right? Right. I'm actually just going to skip articulation. I don't see a point. I mean, it's basically the same body as Scout. The shoulders are effectively the same. The head movement's all the same. Wrists in and out. You got rocker. I mean, NECA, just keep doing what you do. It's all great. No off-to-size comparisons we go. Again, from the Predator 2 Ultimate line that we've been seeing, that these two have also come from, we have Grayback, or Elder, or Golden Angel, whatever the hell you'd like to call them. Probably the best of all of them thus far, although I will say, in my opinion, Shaman's a very close second, but there's something about Elder that just really works for me. Then we also have NECA's Ultimate Robocop. This is the re-release that we just saw recently with the spring open thigh holster thing for his gun. Then we also have a repainted McFarlane, the Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, who has not changed poses since we actually reviewed the McFarlane Weapons Pack version 2, funnily enough. Then, of course, we have the Predator's brand new friend, Star Wars: The Black Series, Muck Muck.
Hey, you know, whenever we have monsters on this channel, they usually try to kill me, but the Predator's actually pretty cool.
Shut up, McKenna.
It's actually Muck Muck. Wait, you don't like the Shin Black one, do ya? Do ya? Put me down! Put me down!
I swear, like, every time I touch these guys, I fall just a little bit more in love with them. NECA, just keep NECA-ing. You're doing so good! I mean, that's why I felt so comfortable keeping this review as short as it was.
Nope.
Because as extravagant and jam-packed as these figures are, I'm so confident in the quality, I don't feel like we need to look at every single detail anymore. From out of the box to the review desk, I had basically no QC issues or anything. Like, I'm glad that NECA has evolved from, you know, those days I've talked about where you didn't know if a leg was going to pop off or you didn't know if a weapon was going to be warped or snapped or whatever, to just flat out, what you see is what you get. And we get everything here. And then some. It's just all great. As for Shaman, he's quickly climbing up to being one of my favorite Predators of all time, just based on appearances alone. I mean, I think the pale flesh really helps him stand out on the shelf, especially when you have like all the different yellows and blues that we've been getting from Predators. Then you just have this really stark white gothic figure with the robes, the crazy weapons, and that really kick-ass looking skeletal biomask. If it's even a biomask, I don't think this guy does any technology whatsoever. Like, he can't even remove the disc that's bolted into his hip over there. But even Scout, I can't discredit him. Again, I kind of panned away from him because I kind of felt like he's a little too similar to Jungle Hunter. But then there was something about this weapon that got me really excited. And then I think more than anything, the head sculpt. I mean, for me, the head sculpt, those 4 mandibles that are going up, make me feel like this guy just has a bigger story to tell. Like, he just screams silent grunt of the group, you know?
I stay very quiet because I have a checkered past.
My God, I just hope that we keep seeing more Predators. Like, I'm getting a little bit worried that, especially since we've been seeing so many re-releases in the past, which is a good thing. It's nice that we're getting new molds and everything, especially of characters that we enjoy and want to enjoy them with a more modern template. I'm almost borderline concerned that perhaps NECA might step away from Predator because they've done so much already. Like, it's great that we're getting all Predator too, but I hope that they get back around to doing some more re-releases, and then like they did with the Alpha Predator, who I also have, make their own unique creations. I don't think anyone would complain about that, right? I mean, you've got all the Kenner tribute figures, and all those figures were just unique ideas made by Kenner. So why can't NECA go ahead and just make their own unique ideas for Predators from now on? I think the only issue I did have was for the shoulder turret, but there's a little hot water. Big deal. That's easy. But really, oh man, I'm just get more pleased with NECA every time I see them. And every time I post one of these videos, it reminds me of the validity in me saying, NECA is my favorite action figure line there is. Like, whether they're doing horror, Predator, Alien, or just whatever the hell, I just love what they're doing. And I love seeing them grow over the past decade, perhaps a little more than that. Just excellent stuff all the way around. And I hope you guys pick these guys up, because show NECA some love. Convince them that we still love their stuff. Like, for $40 for each of these guys, you really can't go wrong. I mean, honestly, NECA, don't do it. But I feel like these could be selling for $80 and no one would bat an eye, because the quality is so great. I mean, especially when you have figures like Mafex that are like, what, like this compared to these guys? And then those are selling for triple the price that these go for? Come on! I'm gonna stop because I need to stop eventually. But these are both remarkable. I love them so much. If you enjoy them, obviously I recommend them. Go out and get them. So if you enjoyed this review, then please, as per usual, be sure to like, comment,
And subscribe.
Or you'll never get a chance to try the company chocolates, and so much heart was put into them.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Rock on, and I will see you all later. And I'm recalling the time when I said, oh, I'm probably not going to get any more of The Lost Tribe. Well, that guy was a friggin' liar, right? You know what, NECA? How about you just come over to my apartment just so I can give you a big kiss on the face? I love what you're doing. I was just about to wrap this video up, and then my fridge decided to do its fridge thing and be the most fridgiest fridge that's ever fridged. You can hear that, right? You can hear that. Fridge. Shut up, fridge. Fridge. Fridge!